Jake Morrison walked down the cold metal hallway of the spaceship UES Liberty. His boots made loud sounds on the floor with each step he took. The lights above his head were bright and white, making everything look harsh and clean. He was wearing his blue commander uniform with silver badges on his chest that showed his rank. Jake had been in space for 3 years now, but he still felt strange walking through these narrow hallways. He stopped in front of a heavy door that had warning signs all over it. The signs were red and said things like danger and authorized, personnel only in big letters. Jake put his hand on a scanner next to the door. The machine beeped twice and the door opened with a loud hissing sound. Inside the room was something that Jake had never seen before in his life. Behind a thick glass wall sat a creature that looked nothing like any human or animal from Earth. The alien was tall, maybe 8 feet if it stood up. Its skin looked like it was made of blue-green crystals that caught the light and threw it back in strange patterns. The creature had 4 arms instead of 2, and each arm was longer than a human arm. Its head was shaped like a triangle, and it had 6 eyes that were all different sizes. The biggest eye was in the middle of its forehead, and the other 5 were arranged around it like points on a star. The alien wore what looked like a breathing mask over the bottom part of its face. Tubes connected the mask to a small machine on its chest. Every few seconds, the machine made a soft whirring sound, and the alien's chest would rise and fall. Jake knew this was how the creature could breathe the air that humans needed to live. Amy. Carter was standing next to a control panel covered in buttons and small screens. She was a lieutenant and had been working with aliens and their technology for 2 years. Amy had short red hair and green eyes. She was good at her job, and Jake trusted her to handle the important technical work. "How long has it been awake?" Jake asked Amy without taking his eyes off the alien. 2 days and a few hours, Amy said while looking at one of her screens. "It does not want to talk to us using our translation computers, but Dr. Kevin Hayes thinks it can understand everything we say to it." Jake nodded slowly. The alien had been brought to their ship after a big space battle near one of Earth's colony planets. The creatures called themselves the Kethvar Collective, and they had attacked human settlements without any warning. Most of the alien ships had escaped when they realized humans were better fighters than they expected. But this one alien got left behind when human fighters destroyed its ship's engines. Lisa Rodriguez was the captain who led the attack that captured this alien. She was known for being smart in battle and never giving up when things got difficult. Lisa had managed to disable the alien ship without killing everyone inside, which was not easy to do in space combat. Jake walked closer to the glass wall. The alien's 6 eyes all turned to look at him at the same time, which made Jake feel uncomfortable. He had seen many strange things in space, but having 6 eyes stare at him was still weird. "I need to talk to it," Jake told Amy. Amy pressed some buttons on her control panel. "The room is ready, sir. The translation system is working and we are recording everything." Jake took a deep breath and walked to a smaller door that led into the alien's room. 2 Marines came with him. The Marines were big, strong men who carried large guns and wore thick armor. Their job was to protect Jake if the alien tried to hurt him. The room where the alien sat was small and had white walls with no windows. There was 1 chair for Jake and a long bench where the alien was sitting. The air in the room smelled like metal and something sweet that Jake could not identify. Jake sat down in the chair and looked directly at the alien. "I am Commander Jake Morrison of the United Earth Forces," he said, in a clear, strong voice. "We know you can understand our language. Your people attacked our colonies and killed innocent humans. We want to know why you did this." The alien did not move or make any sound for a long time. Its breathing machine continued to whir softly, and its crystal skin continued to reflect the room's lights. All 6 of its eyes stayed focused on Jake's face. Minutes passed with no sound except for the alien's breathing machine and the quiet hum of the ship's engines. Jake waited patiently. He had been trained to wait as long as necessary when questioning prisoners. Sometimes staying quiet was the best way to get someone to start talking. Finally, the alien reached up with one of its forearms and touched something on its breathing mask. A small device on the mask began to glow with a blue light. When the alien spoke, its voice came out of the device in perfect English, but it sounded strange and mechanical. "You do not know what you are, do you?" the alien said. Each word came out slowly, like the creature was thinking carefully about what to say. Your species. The collective made a very bad mistake when we decided to attack you. Jake felt something. Cold move through his stomach. The alien's voice did not sound angry or sad. It sounded afraid. But what could a powerful alien species that traveled between stars be afraid of? Humans were new to space travel, and their technology was much simpler than what these aliens had. What kind of mistake? Jake asked, keeping his voice calm even though he was starting to feel worried. The alien's 6 eyes blinked one at a time, starting with the big one in the middle and going around to the others. We thought you were like the other young species we have met before. Weak, confused, easy to defeat. But we were wrong about humans. Very, very wrong. Jake Morrison sat in the small white room staring at the alien prisoner for 3 more days. Each time he came to talk with the creature, it told him things that made him feel more and more uncomfortable. The alien, which the humans called Subject, Zik-7, seemed to know things about human history that even Jake did not know. Dr. Kevin Hayes joined Jake for the morning questioning session on the 4th day. Kevin was a tall, thin man with gray hair and thick glasses. He studied alien life forms and had spent many years learning about different species from other planets. Kevin carried a small computer tablet where he wrote down everything the alien said. Amy Carter was also in the room, watching her control screens and making sure all the recording equipment was working properly. She had been having bad dreams since the alien started talking about humans. The things it said made her think about her own planet and people in ways that scared her. Tell us more about what your people know about Earth, Jake said to the alien as he sat down in his usual chair. The alien's breathing mask made its regular whirring sounds for a moment before it began to speak. The Galactic Council has been watching your planet for more than 2,000 of your years. We have seen your wars, your cities growing, your people spreading across your world. But most of all, we have seen how you fight. Kevin looked up from his tablet. What do you mean when you say how we fight? The alien's 6 eyes all focused on Kevin at the same time. Most species in the galaxy fight wars to win them quickly. They use weapons that kill enemies fast, and then the war is over. Clean, simple, efficient. But humans are different. Very different. Amy felt her hands getting sweaty as she listened. How are we different? Humans do not just want to win wars, the alien said, its mechanical voice staying flat and emotionless. Humans want their enemies to suffer while they are being defeated. You create weapons that cause pain for long periods of time. You develop chemicals that make soldiers sick and die slowly. You build bombs that make the ground poisonous for many years after the war ends. Jake felt his face getting hot with anger. Every species has weapons. War is terrible everywhere. No, the alien said, shaking its triangular head. You do not understand. Other species create weapons to end conflicts as quickly as possible. The faster a war ends, the less damage everyone suffers. But humans create weapons specifically designed to make enemies afraid, to make them give up not because they are defeated, but because they are terrified of what humans will do to them. Dr. Hayes wrote quickly on his tablet, trying to capture every word. He had studied many different alien cultures, but he had never heard anything like this before. The alien continued talking. Your species invented something called psychological warfare. This means making enemies so scared and confused that they cannot fight properly. You play loud music to keep enemy soldiers awake at night. You drop papers from airplanes that tell enemy soldiers their families will be hurt if they do not surrender. You create fake radio broadcasts that give false information to cause panic. Amy's voice was quiet when she spoke. But those tactics help save lives by ending wars sooner. The alien made a sound that might have been laughing, but it sounded more like metal scraping against metal. That is what humans tell themselves, but it is not true. Humans enjoy creating fear in their enemies. Your entertainment shows this, clearly. You make movies and books and games about war, and humans pay money to watch other humans being hurt and killed. Jake stood up quickly, his chair scraping against the floor. Those are just stories. They are not real. Are they not? the alien asked. Your children play games where they pretend to shoot and kill other children. Your athletes compete in sports that simulate hand-to-hand combat. Your news programs show violence and death because humans like to watch these things. Violence is not something humans do only during wars. Violence is woven into every part of human culture. Kevin Hayes had stopped writing and was staring at the alien with his mouth open. You are saying that other species do not have violent entertainment? Correct. Most species find violence disturbing and try to avoid seeing it whenever possible. But humans seek it out. You celebrate it. You teach it to your young. This is why the Galactic Council considers humans to be the most dangerous species they have ever encountered. The room became very quiet except for the sound of the alien's breathing machine and the distant hum of the ship's engines. Jake sat back down in his chair, feeling like something heavy was sitting on his chest. Most dangerous how? Jake asked, though part of him did not want to know the answer. In our galaxy, there are over 12,000 intelligent species. Of these, perhaps 50 could be called aggressive. Of those 50, maybe 10 are truly violent by nature. But humans are the only species that seems to enjoy violence for its own sake. Amy's hand was shaking as she adjusted the controls on her panel. That cannot be true. Humans also create beautiful art and music. We build hospitals to heal sick people. We rescue animals and protect children. The alien's eyes focused on Amy. Yes, and that is what makes humans so terrifying. You are not simply violent creatures. You are capable of great kindness and great cruelty, often at the same time. You will risk your lives to save strangers, and then you will create weapons designed to cause maximum suffering to enemies. No other species combines such extremes. Doctor, Hayes finally found his voice. What you are describing, it sounds like you think humans are mentally unstable as a species. Not unstable, the alien corrected. Unpredictable. A violent species can be understood and planned for. A peaceful species can be negotiated with. But a species that can be both violent and peaceful depending on circumstances that other species cannot predict, that is something the galaxy has never seen before. Jake leaned forward in his chair. So your people attacked our colonies because you were afraid of us? The alien was quiet for a long moment before answering. The attack on your colonies was not about conquest or resources. It was what your people would call a preemptive strike. The collective hoped to eliminate humanity before you could develop faster space travel and spread to other star systems. Lisa Rodriguez had been listening to the conversation from outside the room through the communication system. Now she walked into the room, her face showing the anger she felt. But we already have faster-than-light travel. We have been exploring space for 50 years. The alien looked at Lisa with all 6 of its eyes. Yes. And that is why the collective is now terrified, because it is too late to stop human expansion into the galaxy. The information that the alien prisoner had shared with Jake Morrison and his team was spreading through the ship like a disease. Every crew member who heard about the conversations began to look at themselves and their fellow humans in a new and uncomfortable way. Jake found himself lying awake at night, thinking about the things the alien had said about human nature. On the 5th day of questioning, Jake returned to the small white room with Dr. Hayes and Amy Carter. Captain Lisa Rodriguez also joined them this time. Lisa was a strong woman with dark hair and serious brown eyes. She had fought in more space battles than most people and was not easily scared, but the alien's words about humanity had made her start questioning things she had never thought about before. Today we want to know more about this Galactic Council you mentioned, Jake said to the alien as he sat in his chair. Tell us about how they see humanity. The alien's breathing machine whirred softly for several seconds before it began to speak. The Galactic Council is made up of representatives from the oldest and most advanced civilizations in our galaxy. They have been working together for over 50,000 of your years to maintain peace and order among the different species. Amy leaned forward in her chair. And they have been watching Earth for 2,000 years? Yes. When a new species develops the ability to travel in space, the Council begins to monitor them. They study the species' behavior, their technology, their culture, and their potential threat level. Most species are eventually invited to join the galactic community once they prove they are peaceful and stable. Dr. Hayes looked up from his tablet where he was taking notes. But humans were not invited to join? The alien made that scraping, metal sound that Jake had learned was its version of laughter. Humans were never going to be invited to join. The council has been debating what to do about the human problem for over a century. Lisa's face showed her anger. The human problem? What does that mean? It means that humans are the first species in galactic history that the council considers too dangerous to be allowed to spread beyond their home system, but too unpredictable to be safely eliminated. Jake felt his stomach twist into knots. They have talked about eliminating us. 17 separate debates over the past 100 years. Each time they decided to wait and observe rather than take direct action. The council hoped that humans would eventually destroy themselves as violent species sometimes do. But instead, humans continued to grow stronger and more advanced. Amy's voice was barely above a whisper. What made them think we would destroy ourselves? The alien's 6 eyes focused on different people in the room as it spoke. Your history is filled with examples of humans creating weapons powerful enough to end all life on your planet, then choosing not to use them. Nuclear weapons, biological weapons, chemical weapons that could kill every living thing on Earth. No other species has ever created such destructive tools and then shown restraint in using them. Dr. Hayes stopped writing and stared at the alien. But that should prove that humans are not as dangerous as you think. We created terrible weapons, but we chose not to destroy ourselves with them. That is exactly what makes humans so terrifying, the alien replied. A species that creates world-ending weapons and uses them immediately is predictable. A species that never creates such weapons is also predictable. But a species that creates ultimate weapons and then decides when and how to use them based on complex moral and political considerations. That is completely unpredictable. Lisa stood up and began pacing around the small room. So because we think carefully before using our most powerful weapons, other species see us as dangerous? Not just dangerous, incomprehensible. The Council has studied thousands of species over 50,000 years. They understand how most minds work. But human decision-making follows patterns that no other species can predict or understand. Jake rubbed his forehead, feeling a headache starting. Give us an example of what you mean. The alien was quiet, for a moment as if it was trying to decide how to explain something very complicated. In your year 1945, humans used atomic weapons to end a war. The Council expected humans to continue using these weapons in future conflicts, because they were so effective. But then humans did not use them again for many decades, even when they were losing wars. Amy nodded. We realized how terrible those weapons were and decided not to use them except in extreme circumstances. But that makes no sense to other species, the alien said. If humans thought the weapons were too terrible to use, why did they continue to build them? Why create thousands of nuclear weapons if you never plan to use them? Other species either use their most effective weapons or they do not create them at all. Dr. Hayes was writing frantically, trying to capture every detail. What other human behaviors does the Council find confusing? Humans will spend enormous resources to save the life of a single individual, even if that individual is from an enemy nation. But humans will also destroy entire cities if they believe it serves a greater purpose. You rescue injured enemy soldiers and give them medical care, but you also develop new ways to cause psychological trauma to enemy populations. Lisa stopped pacing and turned to face the alien. It sounds like you are describing human compassion and human warfare as if they are contradictory. They are contradictory according to the logic that governs every other species in the galaxy. Most species are either peaceful or warlike. They either value individual life above all else, or they prioritize the survival of their group. But humans somehow do both at the same time. Jake leaned back in his chair, feeling overwhelmed by the implications of what the alien was telling them. So the Council sees humans as unpredictable, and that makes us dangerous? Unpredictable is perhaps not the correct word, the alien said after a pause. The correct word is irrational. Humans make decisions based on emotions, moral principles, personal relationships, and abstract concepts like honor or justice. Other species make decisions based on logic, survival needs, resource availability, and clear cause and effect relationships. Amy looked confused. But surely other species have emotions and moral principles. They do, but not like humans. Other species' emotions follow predictable patterns. Their moral principles are consistent and logical. But human emotions can override logic completely. Humans will make choices that harm their own survival chances because of feelings like guilt or love or anger. Dr. Hayes looked up from his tablet. Are you saying that other species cannot understand human emotions? We can observe them, but we cannot predict them. A human might risk their life to save a complete stranger, or they might ignore the suffering of someone they know well. The same human might show mercy to a defeated enemy, or they might seek revenge against someone who wronged them years earlier. There is no logical pattern that allows other species to predict what humans will do in any given situation. The room fell silent as the four humans tried to process what they had learned. Jake looked around at his colleagues and realized that each of them was probably questioning their own motivations and behaviors in ways they never had before. Finally, Lisa spoke in a quiet voice. So when your people attacked our colonies, it was not because you wanted our resources or our territory. It was because you were afraid of what humans might do if we continued to spread through the galaxy. Correct, the alien said. But now that we have seen how humans fight, the collective realizes that our fear was completely justified. Jake Morrison could not sleep that night. He walked through the empty hallways of the UES Liberty, thinking about everything the alien prisoner had told them. The ship felt different now, like he was seeing it through the eyes of other species, who might be watching from somewhere in the darkness between the stars. The next morning, Jake called a meeting with his senior officers in the ship's main conference room. The room had a large oval table surrounded by 12 chairs, with screens on the walls that could display star charts and tactical information. Today, the screens showed images of Earth and the human colony worlds that had been attacked by the alien fleet. Captain Lisa Rodriguez sat across from Jake at the table. She had dark circles under her eyes, showing that she had also had trouble sleeping. Lieutenant Amy Carter was there with her usual tablet and recording equipment. Dr. Kevin Hayes sat at the far end of the table, looking older than he had just a week before. The alien's revelations seemed to be aging all of them. We need to discuss what our prisoner has told us, Jake began. If what it says is true, then everything we thought we knew about humanity's place in the galaxy is wrong. Lisa leaned forward, her hands folded on the table. Sir, I have been thinking about the alien's claims, and I am not sure we should believe everything it says. It could be lying to make us doubt ourselves. Amy looked up from her tablet. But why would it lie about something like this? What would it gain by making us think badly about our own species? Dr. Hayes spoke in a quiet voice. I have been checking the alien statements against our historical records. The psychological profiles it describes about humans, they are disturbingly accurate. We do have patterns of behavior that could seem irrational or unpredictable to other species. Jake stood up and walked to one of the wall screens that showed a map of human settlements in space. According to our prisoner, there have been 17 separate debates in this Galactic Council about what to do with humans. 17 times, they decided we were too dangerous to join their community, but too unpredictable to safely eliminate. Lisa's face showed her frustration. Commander, we are explorers and colonists. We are building new homes for our people and sharing our technology and culture with anyone we meet. How does that make us dangerous? That is exactly what makes us unpredictable, Amy said, reading from her notes. The alien said that most species are either peaceful or warlike, but humans are both at the same time. We build hospitals and schools on our colony worlds, but we also build military bases and weapons factories. Dr. Hayes nodded. And we do both with equal enthusiasm. A human colony will spend huge amounts of money to save endangered alien plants, but it will also develop new weapons to defend itself against potential threats. Jake returned to his seat. The alien also said something that has been bothering me. It said that humans are the only species that combines extreme compassion with extreme cruelty, often in the same individual. Lisa looked uncomfortable. What does that mean exactly? It means that a human soldier might risk his life to save wounded enemy civilians in the morning, and then use psychological warfare tactics to break enemy morale in the afternoon, Amy explained. Other species see this as evidence that humans are mentally unstable. Dr. Hayes pulled up some files on his tablet. I have been researching human military history, and the aliens' observations are unfortunately accurate. We have a long tradition of developing weapons and tactics specifically designed to cause fear and psychological damage, not just physical defeat. Jake felt a cold weight in his stomach. Give me some examples. Propaganda warfare, where we spread false information to make enemy populations lose faith in their leaders. Economic warfare, where we target civilian infrastructure to make daily life difficult for enemy populations. Even our space battles follow these patterns. We disable enemy ships when we could destroy them, then interrogate the survivors to gather intelligence and spread fear among their people. Amy's voice was barely audible. Are we saying that the alien is right about us? That humans really are some kind of monsters? No, Lisa said firmly. We are survivors. We adapt to threats, and we protect our people. If that makes other species uncomfortable, then maybe they should not threaten us in the first place. Jake looked around the table at his officers. But that attitude is exactly what the alien was talking about. We assume that anyone who does not understand us must be a potential threat. Dr. Hayes had been quietly reading through more historical data. There is something else that concerns me. The alien mentioned that humans are the only species to develop on what it called a death world. I have been thinking about what that might mean. Amy looked confused. What is a death world? Earth, Dr. Hayes said simply. Think about it. Our planet has ice ages that kill most life forms every few thousand years. We have massive volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, droughts, and diseases that constantly threaten all living things. Most species evolved on planets with stable climates and few natural disasters. Lisa was beginning to understand. You are saying that humans developed differently because our planet kept trying to kill us? Exactly. Every other intelligent species evolved in relatively safe, stable environments. But humans had to develop the ability to survive constant threats from their own planet. That is why we are so good at adapting to new situations and developing new survival strategies. Jake felt pieces of a puzzle clicking together in his mind. And that is why other species find us so unpredictable. They evolved to live in peace with their environment, but we evolved to fight against our environment. Amy looked at her tablet, scrolling through the recordings of their conversations with the alien. The prisoner said that the Galactic Council has been monitoring Earth for 2,000 years. Do you think they have been interfering with our development? Dr. Hayes looked up sharply. What do you mean by interfering? I mean, what if some of the disasters in human history were not natural events? What if other species have been trying to slow down our development or reduce our population? The room became very quiet as everyone considered this possibility. Jake walked back to the wall screen and stared at the image of Earth floating in the darkness of space. That would explain why the alien seemed so afraid when it talked about human survival instincts. Jake said slowly, if other species have been testing us for thousands of years and we kept surviving and growing stronger, Lisa finished the thought, then they would know that we are much more dangerous than they originally thought. Dr. Hayes was typing rapidly on his tablet, searching through historical databases. If this is true, then the attack on our colonies was not the first time alien species have tried to eliminate humanity. It might just be the first time we were advanced enough to recognize it as an attack. Amy looked around the table with wide eyes. How many other natural disasters in human history might have been alien interventions? Jake returned to his seat, feeling like the weight of human history was pressing down on him. There is only one way to find out. We need to ask our prisoner directly. Lisa nodded. And if it confirms that other species have been trying to eliminate humanity for thousands of years? Jake looked at each of his officers before answering. Then we need to decide what humanity is going to do about it. Jake Morrison entered the small white interrogation room for what he knew would be the final conversation with the alien prisoner. This time, he was not accompanied by any of his officers. He needed to hear the complete truth without any distractions, and he sensed that the alien might be more willing to share its most important secrets if they were alone. The alien sat on its usual bench, its crystalline skin reflecting the harsh overhead lights. Its 6 eyes focused on Jake as he sat down in the chair across from it. The breathing machine on its chest made its regular whirring sounds, and Jake had gotten used to the rhythm over the past week. "I have one more question for you," Jake said, his voice steady despite the anxiety he felt. "And I want you to tell me the complete truth." The alien's 6 eyes blinked in sequence, and it touched the device on its breathing mask to activate the translator. "I have been telling you the truth, Commander Morrison. Perhaps more truth than your species is ready to hear." Jake leaned forward in his chair. "My people have been studying human history, looking for patterns that match what you have told us about the Galactic Council's fear of humanity. We think that some of the disasters in our history might not have been natural events." The alien was silent for a long moment, and Jake could hear only the sounds of its breathing machine and the distant hum of the ship's engines. Finally, the creature spoke in its mechanical voice. "You are more perceptive than the Council gave humans credit for. That is another reason why you terrify us." Jake felt his heart beating faster. "So it is true? Other species have been interfering with human development." "Not interfering, attempting to prevent. There is an important difference." The alien shifted its position on the bench, its 4 arms moving in what might have been a gesture of discomfort. "Commander Morrison, what I am about to tell you will change how your species sees itself and its place in the universe. Are you prepared for that knowledge?" Jake nodded, though part of him wanted to stand up and leave the room without hearing another word. The alien's 6 eyes all focused directly on Jake's face. "Your species has survived 17 extinction events over the past 10,000 years. Asteroid impacts, ice ages, volcanic eruptions, plagues, near-miss nuclear wars, environmental collapses. The Council thought these were natural occurrences, or accidents of human recklessness." Jake's mouth felt dry. "But they were not accidents. No. They were deliberate interventions by various Galactic Council members designed to prevent humanity from developing space travel capabilities. Each intervention was carefully planned to look like a natural disaster or human mistake." The room seemed to spin around Jake as he tried to process this information. "You are saying that alien species have been trying to wipe out humanity for thousands of years?" "Trying and failing," the alien corrected. "Each intervention was calculated to eliminate between 70 and 90% of the human population. The survivors were expected to lose their technological progress and return to primitive conditions. Instead, each disaster made humans stronger, more adaptable, and more technologically advanced." Jake's voice was barely above a whisper. "How many species were involved in these interventions?" 12 major civilizations and 47 minor ones. They called it the Terran Containment Protocol. The alien's breathing became more labored, as if sharing this information was physically difficult. But each failure made the Council more desperate, because they began to realize something that no other species had ever done. Jake waited for the alien to continue, afraid to hear what came next. "You are the only species in galactic history to have developed naturally on a death world. Every other intelligent species evolved on planets with stable climates, minimal predators, and abundant resources. But Earth has been trying to kill everything that lives on it for billions of years." The alien stood up from its bench, its full 8-foot height making the small room feel even more cramped. "Ice ages that freeze most of the planet. Volcanic eruptions that block out the sun for years. Asteroid impacts that eliminate entire ecosystems. Diseases that kill without warning. Predators that hunt in organized groups. Weather patterns that can destroy cities in minutes." Jake found himself thinking about Earth's history in a completely new way. So humans evolved to survive constant threats. More than survive. Humans evolved to thrive in conditions that would eliminate any other species. You developed not just intelligence but aggressive curiosity. Not just tool use but the ability to create tools specifically designed to overcome any obstacle. Not just social cooperation, but the ability to work together even with individuals you dislike or distrust. The alien moved closer to the glass barrier that separated it from Jake. Do you understand what this means, Commander? You are evolution's perfect survivors, shaped by 10,000 years of constant adversity. And now you are bringing that death world mentality into space. Jake stood up, his legs feeling weak. What exactly are you afraid will happen? Other species see space as a hostile environment that must be carefully managed and slowly explored. Humans see space as just another environment to conquer. Your people establish colonies on planets that other species consider too dangerous to visit. You build settlements in asteroid belts where one mistake could kill everyone. You send exploration, ships to systems that are known to be unstable or dangerous. The alien's 6 eyes seemed to glow brighter as it continued. And when other species try to warn you about dangers or suggest that you should be more careful, humans respond by developing new technologies to overcome those dangers. You do not avoid problems. You solve them. Jake felt a strange mixture of pride and terror. That does not sound like a bad thing. It is not bad for humans. It is terrifying for everyone else, because it means that there is nowhere in the galaxy that humans will consider too dangerous to explore. No challenge that humans will consider impossible to overcome, and no threat that humans will choose to avoid rather than confront. The alien returned to its bench and sat down heavily. The collective's attack on your colonies was our final desperate attempt to stop human expansion before it was too late. But looking at you now, seeing how you question prisoners with such patient determination, how you analyze new information and adapt your strategies accordingly, I realized that we were already too late. Jake sat back down, feeling like he was seeing himself and his entire species through completely different eyes. Too late for what? Too late to prevent humans from becoming the dominant species in the galaxy, not through conquest or military superiority, but through simple persistence and adaptability. Humans will go to places other species cannot survive, solve problems other species cannot understand, and continue expanding even when faced with obstacles that would stop any other civilization. The alien's breathing machine whirred softly as it made what Jake had learned was its version of a sigh. Within a few hundred years, every habitable system in the galaxy will have human settlements. Not because humans are aggressive conquerors, but because humans are the only species that considers every environment potentially habitable, with the right technology and determination. Jake looked at the alien with new understanding. And that terrifies the other species in the galaxy. Yes, because they realize that once humans spread throughout the galaxy, the age of other species making decisions about galactic affairs will be over. Not because humans will eliminate other species, but because humans will simply be everywhere, doing everything, solving every problem, and making it impossible for other species to maintain their current way of life. Jake stood up and walked to the door, then turned back to look at the alien one more time. What happens now? The alien's 6 eyes focused on him with something that might have been sympathy. Now, Commander Morrison, humanity discovers that it is not the small, peaceful species trying to find its place among the stars. Humanity discovers that it is the nightmare that keeps every other intelligent species in the galaxy awake at night, wondering when the humans will arrive in their system and change everything forever. Jake left the interrogation room and walked slowly back through the ship's corridors toward the bridge. He needed to write his report and send it back to Earth, knowing that this information would fundamentally change how humans saw themselves and their future among the stars. The age of human innocence was ending. The age of human expansion was just beginning. And according to an alien prisoner who had no reason to lie, the rest of the galaxy was absolutely terrified of what that meant. As Jake reached the bridge and sat down at his command station, he looked out at the stars visible through the main view screen. Somewhere out there, 12 major civilizations and 47 minor ones were probably holding emergency meetings to discuss what to do about the human problem. Jake almost smiled as he began typing his report. Let them meet and plan and worry. Humans had survived 17 extinction attempts and grown stronger each time. Whatever the galaxy threw at them next, humanity would find a way to not just survive, but thrive. After all, that was what humans did best.